Cheryl Martinez, and I'm honored to introduce my very special guest today, the musical director and entrepreneur, Bobby Attiko.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I would love for you to just share with the audience real quick, just a little bit about your backgrounds and how you got here.
Okay, well, I basically have an entertainment agency. I hire singers and musicians. We do a lot of high-end events. We do weddings, corporate galas, things like that. I also have an apartment building in Astoria.
That you own.
That I own.
That's a big deal. Congratulations.
I'm trying to do some big things out here.
Yes.
And I'm also a partner in a restaurant in the city.
Wow, that's amazing. So now that's where you're at today, right?
That's where I'm at today.
So I want to talk about your journey, because I feel like your journey is a really powerful one, right? You know?
It is.
And I think it's so inspiring, and that's the point of the show, right? To inspire people to follow their dreams.
Okay.
And I feel like you embody the definition of American dream.
Right? I
right?
kind of feel like I do too, yeah.
So why don't you tell them where you were born?
I was born in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm half Nigerian, half Ghanaian. And I came to New York when I was 3 years old.
And you were the grandson of the tribal chief,
Correct.
weren't you? How cool is that?
It's cool, but I didn't grow up actually in the environment to fully take it in and utilize it and understand it fully.
Understand it, yeah. What
I
that
feel like
meant.
now that I'm older, I grasp the concept a little better.
Yeah.
So.
And then, so when you were 3 years old?
3 years old, my family moved over here to New York, and my parents didn't want any help, any financial assistance from my grandparents. They wanted to prove they could do it on their own, just like my grandparents did.
Wow.
But it was rough. We started in Washington Heights and then moved to the Bronx, and we just struggled pretty much the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes you appreciate everything that much more, though, right?
100%. Everything I have now, all the trips that I take, the lifestyle that I live, I've earned it, and I respect it.
Every single thing, yeah. That's really important, right? And you went and got your degrees as well, right?
I did. I have a music business degree. I have my college degree. I also minored in audio engineering. So now, not only can I record music, but I know what it takes to record it and what it takes to just make these songs pop.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's really helped you in your
100%.
musical director role and being
My
able
thing
to
is,
start
even
a
if you're in
company.
front of the camera, you still need to know what's happening behind the camera. So if someone says, we can't do that, you can be, actually, yes, you can, because you do this, this, and that, and all of a sudden they look at you a little differently.
Yeah. And then, so what happened after college?
So after college, I was homeless for a while. My family fell apart.
Now, when you say homeless, what do you mean by homeless?
My mother, brother, and sister, they moved to Baltimore, and I stayed behind. I made it seem like I had things planned, but I had nothing planned, and I lived in my car, an 87 Oldsmobile.
And your family didn't know that?
No idea. I refused to tell them because I know if they knew, they'd make me move to Baltimore with them.
Wow.
And for the dream that I wanted to live, I knew it couldn't happen out there in
That
Baltimore.
was really, really brave of you.
To me, it wasn't a choice. I had a vision, and I couldn't stray from that. And I knew that vision could only happen in New York.
Wow. So what was it like living in your car?
It was rough. I lived in the car, I slept in the car. At that point, I had just gotten a job delivering paychecks in the morning, so I'd still be going to school, and what I do is I deliver the paychecks to these office buildings in the morning, and it's before anyone got there at 6 a.m. So I'd be in there in the bathroom cleaning off, like literally cleaning myself in an office sink in order to go to school that day and not have any funky scent or anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long did you do that for?
It was about a year. A friend of mine was also flipping homes. She had a house in like a gang-infested area in Long Island, and she was like, you can stay in this house if you want, but the gang members break in and shoot it up all the time. So if you're tired of sleeping confined in the car, you can actually come sleep in the building, but they might break in and something might happen. And I had to take the risk sometimes because I was tired of sleeping in the car.
Wow, that's incredible. And then, so now, what was the moments where you weren't homeless anymore? How were you able to take that and really just turn it around into this empire that you've built today?
Well, one night the gang members actually broke into the building and they started shooting it up, and I would always sleep with a bat. And that night I realized I was like, I'm probably gonna die, but even if I die, I'm taking one of them with me. And that's not how I think. I'm a positive person. I'm happy. So the fact that I was thinking I'm gonna die, but I'm taking someone with me, that's when I realized this is not gonna be my life, and I'm gonna do something to change this. I got a job doing mortgages. but I was still singing on the weekends. And my mentality was, as long as I have a cell phone, a car, and my mic, I can get a gig doing gigs. And I'd have to pick between eating or paying my cell phone bill, or eating and putting gas in the car. And I always chose the cell phone and the gas because, like I said, as long as I can get to that show, I knew I could make money.
Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you.
Bobby, oh my gosh, you're just...
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So now, so you were doing these shows on the side, and then just one of those shows,
well,
you started getting more shows, and then just what was the turning point?
Well, when I first started doing the shows, I was actually almost fired for being too boring. And I grew up in a proper home, so when I first got to like the Waldorf Astoria and I saw the events that I've seen on TV actually existed, I was nervous, and I'd always be like prim, proper, like respectable, but that's not what they wanted. And a friend had to tell me, if you don't turn up, you're about to get fired. This is your last show.
You gotta turn up.
Like they literally want you to turn up. So she
you
told
really
me that.
know how to turn up now. You teach people how to turn up now.
I actually do teach people how to turn up now, but I didn't know. So after she told me that, the next event, they give me the mic and I jump off the stage, I land in a split, I pop up, I'm sliding all over the place, I'm grinding on all the people, and everyone's face is like, and when I'm done, I threw the mic back at the band leader, I'm like, next time tell me if there's a problem. And I looked the other way like, from then on I was working every weekend.
Wow. And then you just became the man, like the go-to guy for like live events,
correct,
weddings, galas, or any private event that needed like a live band.
Right now my band is the #1 on the East Coast.
Congratulations, Bobby. That's amazing. That's
amazing,
yeah. Like what you've done with your life. And does your family know now about
they
that
know.
period in
They
your
know.
life?
My mom just shakes her head. She's like, how could you not tell us? And I tell her, well, it paid off. She lives in my building now, too. She lives in one of the apartments for free. So my thing is, everything worked out the way it was supposed to. I had a vision, and I couldn't stray from it.
You know, that's really a story about following your dream right there, about not giving up, about no matter what your circumstances are, if you want it, you can make it happen for yourself. You know, if you're homeless, you can still make it happen for yourself.
To me, anything's possible as long as you stay positive and stay focused on what you want your goal to be. And I stayed positive and I stayed on that path. To me, there was no room for error.
Yeah. So now how did you transform from now being the singer to now training other people? And when was the point where it grew to, okay, now it's time for me to start my own company?
Well,
from entertainer to entrepreneur.
And it's funny, I never wanted to be in business. Like, that was the last thing I ever wanted.
Really?
But one of the other band leaders...
Well, you do it so well.
I think it's because I don't want to do it. And I feel like that's the key to it. A lot of people there are looking for money and they're hungry, and I feel like that taints their soul, it taints the way they think. And
so for you, it's still about putting on the best show.
Yeah, and helping people find that hidden gem within themselves, and helping them to just bring out that light that's in them.
Interesting.
So that's why I think I'm good at it. I love it. I'm not out here trying to rip anyone off. I try to help everyone as best as I can to make their dream come true and teach them to do what I did, which is make money doing what you love. It is possible. It's hard, but it's possible.
It takes a lot of work and a lot of courage and a lot of thick skin. Right?
Gotta be thick-skinned.
Right?
The only way to get better is to hear what you're doing wrong. And if you can't take that criticism, this isn't for you.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like you still haven't told me though. So you're performing all the time. Now, how do you turn into the entrepreneur?
Okay.
When did you start your company?
So performing all the time, I still wanted to be like an original artist. And one of the other band leaders was telling me, how come you don't start your own band? And I'm thinking, I'm gonna be a superstar. I don't have time for this weddings and galas. And they're like, you're doing it anyway. Why not make the most money and do it your way?
Yeah.
And when they put it to me like that, I was like, okay, might be worth a shot. And I started up my own band. They said it would take 3 years to become successful. The first year out, we had the most callbacks out of any band.
Wow.
And from there, it just spiraled.
So it took a lot less than 3 years for your band.
Way less, yeah. And I think the main premise is I'm not out here trying to be the best. I'm just out here trying to have fun. And I feel like that energy is infectious. When people see that you're really enjoying what you do and you're not out here like, oh, am I going to get paid? They can recognize that that
I love
spirit.
that, Bobby. I love that.
It's
It
true.
took me so long to learn that.
And that's the thing. A lot of people have to learn that. Everyone's
The hard
coming
way.
out of school or growing up thinking money, money, money. It's like, no, the money will come if you love what you do and you don't care about the money.
It's hard to get to that point mentally too, you know?
It's training, and I feel like it comes with experience also,
Yeah.
and maturity. Once you get to a certain age, you start to realize it's not about money, it's about happiness. And I feel like when you're happy, the money comes to you because you deserve it.
Yeah. And you really, really deserve it, Bobby. Like,
thank you.
So, all right. So now you start your company, and it's one band.
One band.
Now, how do you get to 4 bands that you have now?
Well, everyone saw what I was doing, and it's funny. All the singers, now I'm like their inspiration, and they're like, well, if he could do it, why can't I? And once they started voicing that, they said they wanted to follow me, that I should start my own company, that they wanted to follow me specifically. So I decided, you know what, I'll start my own company, and I'll do it a little bit different. This time it's going to be geared more towards the artist as opposed to, you know, I care about my clients, I care about what they think, but I also want to take care of my performers. So my company, we focus a little bit more on making the performers happy. It's nice to be able to do that for people. So that's our thing basically.
Amazing, Bobby. So now, are all the bands similar, or do you use
Every
certain
band is
bands for
different.
certain?
So every band has to be able to do top 40 music or Motown or disco, but certain bands specialize in things a little bit more than others. Like there'll be a band that does hip hop more, another band that does top 40 more, another band that does Latin more.
I like that. That's good, because then you have a little bit of whatever your clients need, you got it for them.
Exactly.
And so what's your forte? Like, what are some of your favorite songs to perform, or like, you know,
my
what's your band's
forte
about?
is everything, which is why we're the flagship. Our thing is energy. As long as you're turning up, we're going to be there to take you to the next level. If the scale is 1 to 10, we start at 15 and we need you to rock with us.
Wow, that's so
And that's
cool.
it for 4 hours straight. We don't stop.
So being the most sought out band in the East Coast, I mean, I'm sure you guys aren't too affordable now at this point, right?
It's
so
a little pricey.
If someone wanted to hire your bands, like, are you going to kind of alter the rate based on the type of event, or are you guys just at this point now where you just can't do it for?
Well, it depends on the day of the week. It depends on how many pieces they want and the time of year.
Okay.
In season, on a Saturday night, there's nothing I can do for you. You gotta pay top dollar.
Yeah.
If it's off season, like between January to May, and it's a Friday, we could talk about some things.
So now, what if someone just wanted to come see your band perform for fun? Do you guys ever do just like shows?
We do. Once in a blue, I'll do like a bar show or a lounge show, and that's the only time people can come, and it's always free. I'm not doing that for the money.
Great.
It's
Well,
just.
keep me posted.
Oh, you know I will.
Where can we find out? You know, when those shows are gonna be?
You can follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Bobby Attiko, BobbyAttiko, and that's it, Bobby Attiko. You can follow me. I also have my Instagram at Golden Child Artist, or just Golden Child, and like I said, follow us. You'll see everything you need.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So now what I want to talk about is, again, you know, the concept of the show, Tools for Talent. We're providing tools, tips, and advice for aspiring talent. So let's say there's a musician out there that wants to maybe be considered for one of your bands or any bands, wherever they're located in the world. What's some advice you can give them on how to get that job?
The people that I hire are usually the ones that come in and are we allowed to curse?
Not really.
People who don't give...
An F?
An F. Thank you. When people come in and they just have that glow, they have that spark, those are the people I want to work with. It's New York. Everybody can sing.
I didn't expect you to say that.
It's true. It's everyone in New York sings, they can dance, so what's special about you? And the thing that's special is your personality when you perform. I had a girl come in and she wasn't the best singer, but while she's singing, she gets on the windowsill and she lays back and she's doing the whole thing, and I'm like, this chick doesn't give a damn. She's just out here making herself happy. And that's what I want. That's what the people in the crowd want. When I'm performing, I'm doing jumps. I'll have a cape now. So in the middle of my performance, I'm throwing my cape around and shoot fire out my hands. Like, it's a whole thing. And I need you to have that same mentality. Like, you can't care. You have to do it for you. And then the audience will ride with you.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
I love that.
Got to.
All right, what about for, you know, a musician or a dancer or, you know, any of the other aspects?
Well,
drummer?
even with my backup the back line. Sometimes they show us up in the front line. My bass player, he'll be jumping up. It's funny, we had a wedding recently, and it was a gay wedding, and it was a lot of guests from out of town. So they wanted the last song to be New York, New York. Mm-hmm. So as I'm singing New York, New York, it comes to the end where I hold out, these little town blues. So I'm holding these, and he grabs the mic and he says, nuts! At a wedding.
Oh gosh, was it okay?
The entire band stopped playing, fell to the floor laughing. I looked out at the guests, and they were all rolling.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness, but that could have went the other way, but still at the same time, my guys know not given exactly, and that's what I want from everyone. Not to that extent, but that's what I want from everyone. You just have to live your best life.
In the moment,
and
having so much
luckily,
fun.
we've done this enough that he could read the crowd, and he saw that they were doing shots off of each other that he knew they were wild enough to get it that night. But still a risk I wouldn't have taken.
Yeah.
It worked out though.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I know that you also train. It's not only do you hire them, you also train them. 100%. So is that a separate part of the company now, or are you only training the people that you're hiring?
I train everybody. If the company needs me to, I still work with Hank Lane. So if they need me to train their singers, I'll train their singers. I also train mine. And not just the singers. Anyone who wants to learn the art of performance. If you want to come, I'll work with you.
So if someone's watching, we'll give them a little sample of what this training would be like. What is the art of performance?
It's pretty much what we've just been talking about. You can't care if there's stuff you do in your room on a Friday night, like before you could go out and you'd be acting silly. That's the same stuff you should be doing on stage. You shouldn't be second guessing yourself. Is this okay? Can I do this? If your mind goes there, that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's the bottom line. And it takes a while to get over that wall because we've been trained to, you can't do that, you can't do this, you gotta maintain your image, you gotta look cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything but live your best life. Mm-hmm. And if you're a performer or a singer, that is your best life, giving it everything. Wow. No regrets.
All right, but what are you really teaching them though when you're training them?
It's funny. That's really what I teach. That whole mentality.
There's no la 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 la.
No, I won't do voice lessons. I used to do that. It's not voice lessons. If you come to me, you have to already know how to sing. You have to already know how to play an instrument. What I could teach you is how to go to the next level of your performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more being like a well-rounded performer. How do you take on a crowd?
How do you take on a crowd and just let that wall down? That wall is hard. It's been drilled into us since we were kids. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to look a certain way. And what person would allow someone to come to their wedding in a cape? I come to weddings in capes because in my mind, I'm a superhero. I'm coming to save your wedding. You're welcome.
I mean, the band is probably like the most important thing at the wedding,
right? It is. I mean, humbly speaking, no disrespect to
no, but I mean, because you're setting the tone of the whole environment.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the tone starts from the band leader to the band, and then it goes out to the crowd. So if I'm not in the right headspace, the whole party tanks.
And it also must be nice being surrounded by so much joy and love and positive. As great it be to be, on like the stage of like VMAs or something. Like it's a different type of energy when you're at the kind of events you get to be at all the time.
Yeah. And
sharing
it's funny.
These moments with
sometimes
people.
We have celebrities like in the crowd and they come on stage and they can't command the crowd like we do because they're not used to exactly what you're saying, knowing how to invoke certain energy and make people feel a certain way. They're just used to doing their thing in their box. And it's a whole different animal to actually make everyone follow your energy and your mood and where you want to see them go.
Yeah. So now do your bands do like just covers, or are you doing any original music as well?
For these events, we do just covers, but we all have original projects. That same bass player that I'm talking about, he works with, Swiss and Alicia. He works for a lot of major artists. He's just doing everything. A lot of my other guys are doing major stuff on TV. They have songs on shows and movies.
You've been on a bunch of TV shows too, like NBC, The Today Show. You've performed on like a bunch of major
I've done a couple of things. I don't like talking about it anymore.
Tell us, please.
I feel like it was my former life.
Shout yourself out over here. Come on.
I guess I've been on Shaft. I've been on 106 in Park back when it was, popular. Then the NBC Today Show, CBS Morning Show. It's just a bunch of shows I've been on singing. So
that's incredible. And now is that like singing like before you were in those bands?
That actually,
or?
Two different aspects. I've also been on The Apprentice. Not to big that up right now, but
we gotta talk about that in a second.
Some of it was original, some of it was, wedding band stuff. They had like the surprise wedding for the CBS morning show. So they picked a couple and they paid for their entire wedding and they hired us to do it.
Oh, how nice. Yeah. Well, of course they hired. Who else are they gonna hire?
It was early though. And our voices as singers don't work that early.
That's true.
Yeah, we had to be there by 4 or 5 a.m. and normally we go to sleep around 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of vocal prep for that.
A lot of
la.
Yeah, pretty much. And hot tea.
And so what did you do on The Apprentice?
Oh God, they had an episode where it was supposed to be like American Idol, where they had hundreds of people come out and they had to pick one person per team to try and make a superstar. And I was chosen for one of the teams.
Ooh,
yeah, it was pretty. Thank you.
Congratulations.
It was fun, but it was interesting to see how reality TV works. A lot of things that happened in reality was manipulated and edited to, I guess, just for better ratings.
I don't know why they call it reality TV.
It's so not reality.
It's scripted TV.
As I watched
BS
it's super BS. Because I'm watching it and I'm like, that didn't happen like that. That was from another day, another time, and they just inserted it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not even on the same day.
Not even the same day, a different conversation, and they just plug it in because it heightens things up.
Yeah, that's funny. That's crazy. Even for a show like The Apprentice.
I guess especially because it's a show like The Apprentice. It's just all facts and business, so it's boring. So they gotta,
Yeah, add some
make it
drama
pop.
wherever they can, even if
And
it's
they
fake
made
drama.
Oh yeah.
So what would you say was like the highlight of your career so far? Like the best memorable moment that you could have, whether it was, on one of these television shows or a certain event that you were at or meeting someone amazing? Or...
It's funny, the highlight of my career so far doesn't really have to do with the music. It has to do with the apartment building because I was homeless and I had nowhere to live. So when I actually got the building, to me that was a big benchmark in my life.
Wow, wait, so you own the entire apartment building?
The entire building.
I didn't even peep that before.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought you meant like an apartment.
No,
like
no,
the
no.
whole
It's
building.
the whole building.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So that's how you have your family living there.
Exactly.
Now.
So as soon as my mom heard that, she came and she moved right in,
my gosh.
and she lives in the building.
No wonder why that's your biggest accomplishment.
To me, that's my
in your
biggest
life.
thing. And again, it's because I had nowhere to live. So now, not only do I have somewhere to live, but I'm providing homes for other people.
And for your family.
And for my family.
Wow.
So that's the thing that means the most to me.
Of course.
And I'm still looking to get more buildings and just keep the empire growing.
I love Astoria too.
Astoria, I moved there because of the food. The food is amazing.
It's wonderful.
I haven't cooked in 4 years.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess you don't need to, right?
Not at all. Step right outside and you're set.
Wow. Okay. So, is there any other last tips, tools, advice that you want to give for aspiring singers, aspiring musicians, or even just people who just are trying to turn their life around and want to live the American dream?
Well, I guess the main thing I'd like to say is you got to stay focused and you got to stay positive. There's going to be a lot of naysayers, a lot of people who tell you to get that serious 9 to 5, and I had that. It made me sick, literally going to work every day. I was sick. And if it's not meant for you, you don't have to follow the same formula as everyone else is following. This is your one life, and it's your one shot to do it right. You don't get to start over at 80 and say, you know what, I want to try that again my way. Do it your way now, and there might be hard moments, but it'll pay off at the end.
Beautifully
It did
said.
for me.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Bobby, thank you again so much
Thank
for
you
being
for having
here.
me.
This was an amazing interview, and I can't wait to come see your bands and you perform in your cape. And
fire.
guys, make sure you check out his company and his shows and your industry nights and the restaurant you
Monday
own.
night, this
Every
Monday,
night,
yeah.
live open mic, right?
Open mic, come on down. There's great food, and listen, you might get on stage and wow somebody. You never know who's in the crowd.
All right, we'll see you there. If you want to get seen by this guy, that's where you gotta go.
Restaurant at Rose Hill, 32nd Street, between Park and Madison.
Alright, so we'll leave it at that. You guys are watching Tools for Talent on TFT TV. I'm your host, Cheryl Martinez, and my guest today was Bobby Attiko.
tried to take her all in. No, no, no. 'Cause I gotta know what she's about. Oh yeah. I like the way she moves her hips close to me now. Take a shot of this so we can wild out. She's still uptight. She needs a shot of this Patron. Patron, Patron, Patron. She needs a shot of Patron so we can get it on. She needs a shot of Patrice so we can make this thing easy. She needs a shot of Patron so we can get it on. She needs a shot of Patrice so we can make this thing easy.
Can I get a little Remy? Can I get a little goose? Can I get a little Henny? Every time I come up in the club is what the girls wanna ask me when they see me and they want me and they wanna come and get me. When I saw this girl walk right in the door, had to tell my crew I was breezy. Tell the bartender what to send her, you don't know, better ask about my brother Patrice.
Your sexy so fine. It's taking me higher. Hello lips, I wanna try ya. Hey, how many shots I gotta buy ya? To lift that skirt up higher. Oh, so what you sippin' on? A Long Island, yeah, that's strong. I think I like your style. Forget my boys, I'ma chill with you for a while. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're pretty. How many shots do you wanna get with me? The way you wiggle and jiggle when I get in the middle, damn baby, you got a brother feeling, get it. She needs a shot of Patron so we can get it on. She needs a shot of Patrice so we can make this thing. She needs a shot of Patron so we can get it on. She needs a shot of Patrice so we can make this thing easy. Glasses on the bar now, baby, we won't go too far. Even your girls are